Have you ever felt so lost that you wondered if anyone would take you back? Maybe you've made mistakes that weigh heavy on your heart, and you're not sure if there's a way home. The story of the prodigal son isn't just a tale from long ago. It's a mirror for every one of us. A promise that no matter how far we wander, there's a door waiting to open. Today, we're diving into this incredible story from the Bible, a story that's about leaving, falling, and finding your way back to love. Let's walk through it together, step by step, and see what it means for you. Imagine a young man, full of dreams, itching to break free. This is the prodigal son, the younger of two brothers in a wealthy family. He's got everything: security, a loving father, a home that's warm and safe. But it's not enough. He wants more. He wants adventure, freedom, the chance to live life on his terms. So one day, he walks up to his father and says something unthinkable. "Father, give me my share of the estate." In those days, asking for your inheritance early was like saying, "I can't wait for you to be gone." It's bold, it's selfish, and it's heartbreaking. Yet, the father doesn't argue. He divides his property and hands over the son's share. Can you picture that moment? A father letting his child walk away, knowing it might lead to pain, but giving him the freedom to choose. The son takes the money and leaves, heading to a distant country. He's chasing a life of parties, excitement, and no rules. For a while, it feels like he's won. The world is his playground. But what happens when the money runs dry? What happens when the party stops? The son's living it up until one day, he checks his pockets and finds nothing left. The friends he thought he had, they're gone. The good times, faded. And to make matters worse, a famine sweeps through the land. Food is scarce, hope is scarcer. This young man, who once had everything, is now starving, alone, and desperate. He takes a job feeding pigs. Pigs, an animal considered unclean in his culture. He's so hungry he looks at their slop and thinks, "I could eat that." Have you ever hit a moment like that? A time when you realized the path you chose led to a dead end? Maybe it wasn't pigs and famine, but a broken relationship, a failed dream, or a choice that left you empty. We've all had moments where we look at our lives and think, "How did I end up here?" The prodigal son is sitting in the mud, surrounded by pigs, and he's asking himself that question. But here's where the story takes a turn, because even in the darkest moments, there's a spark of hope. As he sits there, something clicks.
When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.'"
Luke 15 verses 17 to 19. He remembers home, not just the food or the comfort, but the love he left behind. He knows he doesn't deserve to be welcomed as a son, not after what he's done. But he's willing to try, to humble himself, to ask for a place, any place, in his father's house. What would you do in his shoes? Would you have the courage to turn back, to face the one you hurt, to admit you were wrong? That's the moment that changes everything for this son. He picks himself up, dusts off the shame, and starts the long walk home. He's rehearsing his speech, expecting judgment, maybe even rejection. But what he doesn't know is what's waiting for him. Picture this. The son is still a long way off, his clothes tattered, his heart heavy. He's trudging along, wondering if his father will even recognize him. But someone does see him. His father who never stopped watching the horizon, never stopped hoping, spots him in the distance. And what does he do? He doesn't stand there with arms crossed, waiting for an apology. No.
But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him and kissed him.
Luke 15 verse 20. The father runs. In that culture, wealthy men didn't run. It was undignified. But this father doesn't care about dignity. He cares about his son. The son starts his speech.
Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.
Luke 15, verse 21. But the father isn't listening to the part about being a servant. He's already calling for the best robe, a ring for his son's finger, sandals for his feet. He's planning a feast, not because the son earned it, but because he's home.
For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.
Luke 15, verse 24. The father's love drowns out the son's shame. It's a celebration of grace, of second chances, of a love that doesn't keep score. What would it feel like to be loved like that? To know that no matter how far you've wandered, there's someone waiting to run to you, to wrap you in forgiveness? This story isn't just about a son and his father. It's about you and God. The Bible tells us God is like that father, watching for us, ready to welcome us home, no matter what we've done.
But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us.
Romans 5, verse 8. That's the heart of the prodigal son story, a love that chases you down, even when you're a long way off. But the story doesn't end with the party. There's another son, the older brother, who's been working hard, staying loyal, never leaving home. When he hears about the feast, he's angry. Why celebrate the one who wasted everything? It's a reminder that sometimes we struggle to accept grace for others or even for ourselves. The father goes to him too, saying,
My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.
Luke 15, verses 31 to 32. The story leaves us wondering, will the older brother join the party? Will he choose love over resentment? What's the lesson here for us in 2025? First, it's about coming home. Maybe you've wandered, not to a distant country, but away from faith, from family, from who you're meant to be. The prodigal son tells us it's never too late to turn back. God's door is always open, and his love doesn't demand perfection, just a step toward him.
Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest.
Matthew 11, verse 28. That's an invitation for you right now. Second, it's about forgiving others. Maybe you're like the older brother, holding on to hurt because someone else got a second chance. The Father's love challenges us to let go, to celebrate when others find their way back. And finally, it's about forgiving yourself. The son didn't think he deserved to be called a son again, but the Father saw him differently. God sees you that way too, worthy of love, worthy of a new start. So what's one step you can take today? Maybe it's a prayer, asking God to meet you where you are. Maybe it's a call to someone you've been distant from, a chance to rebuild a bridge. Or maybe it's looking in the mirror and saying, I'm not defined by my mistakes. The prodigal son didn't stay in the pig pen, and you don't have to stay stuck either. There's a home waiting, a love waiting, a life waiting. This story has been told for centuries, and it still hits us right in the heart. It's a reminder that no one is too far gone, no mistake is too big, no heart is too broken to be welcomed home. As you listen to these words, think about your own journey. Where have you wandered? Where do you need to return? The father in the story ran to his son, and God is running to you, right now, in this moment, with arms wide open. Before we end, let me ask you something. Who in your life needs to hear that they can come home? Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone you know. Share their name in the comments, not to call them out, but to pray for them, to believe they'll find their way back. Let's build a community of hope together, right here, because this story isn't just about one son. It's about all of us.
If you found this video enjoyable, please consider liking and sharing it. Additionally, subscribing to this channel will ensure that you receive more updates in the future. Thank you.